Hello boys and girls, this week in art we are going to be looking at complementary colors and how they contrast. So we're going to be making a cityscape at night. We're going to start out in pencil and I'm going to draw a straight vertical line that goes to about the center of my paper, maybe a little higher. And I'm going to draw an upside down V with the center of the V having the vertical line in the middle. And then on the sides, the ends of the V are going to have two lines coming down to the ground. And we're going to do that for all of our buildings, and it's going to look like we can see the building in a perspective view. So you can see two sides of the building. So you can have your buildings be various heights. You can have them be really tall, or you can have them be kind of short. Whatever you want to do, you can have your buildings touching each other. You can have them overlapping, like I did with my third building. The windows are a little tricky. So if you notice, I'm tracing my pencil over the top of the building because that is the slant that I want to get for the top and bottom of my windows. The sides of the windows are going to be straight up and down. And that is just to show how the perspective is looking when you look at the building on its side. So the top and bottom of the window are slanted the same direction as the top of the building, and the sides of the windows are straight up and down. So you're making a parallelogram, but you have to make sure that you look at the top of the building and which direction it's slanted in. So when you first draw your lines, they're going to look like slanted equal signs. And then you're going to add the sides in, and those are going to be straight up and down. So the top and the bottom are slanted equal signs, and then the sides are straight up and down. And then on the other side, your windows are going to slant the other direction. So making sure you look at the top of the building to make sure that you're slanting your windows the same direction as the building is going to be. And this is going to create a three-dimensional form for your building. It's not going to look flat. So you're essentially creating perspective in your drawing. You can draw as many or as few windows as you would like to have on each of your buildings. Just make sure that the top and bottom are slanted diagonally, just like the top of the building in each different section. Now that I have my buildings drawn in, I'm going to create the night sky. And this is we're gonna use our previous knowledge of value to create the moon big and bright, and it's slowly going to get darker and darker the further the night sky is away from the moon. So the night sky is going to be really light next to the moon, and then a little bit darker as it goes farther away, and then even darker as it's farther away, and then really dark as it's furthest away. So you have to think about the complementary colors that you're going to do. So if you want a blue sky, your buildings will need to be orange. And if you want a purple sky, your buildings will be yellow. And if you want a red sky, your buildings will have to be green. So the opposite for the other way. If you want an orange sky, your buildings will be blue. If you want a yellow sky, your buildings will be purple. And if you want a green sky, your buildings will be red. So now I'm going in and creating my value. I created the moon as a circle, and then I did these curved lines, curved circles to show where the next section is going to start. And as I'm going, I'm making it a little darker. So just creating these curved lines as a guide to show me where I'm going to stop with that value and then go to the next value. Now that I have my night sky nicely colored in, showing the light to dark values, I'm going to start coloring in my buildings using the complement of blue, which is orange. So I'm using colored pencils. You can use any material that you like. And I'm thinking about the location of the building. So one side is going to be facing the moon, while the other side is going to be facing away from the moon. And the moon is the source of light, which means that the side that's facing the moon is going to be lighter than the side that's not facing the moon. So thinking about the location of the moon, I'm going to make one side darker and one side lighter. So as you can see, I'm drawing really lightly with my orange. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the sides of the buildings that are facing the moon. So now that I'm done with the lighter side, I'm going to go in with a darker orange and do the side of the building that is not facing the moon. I'm going to do that to each building for the side that is not facing the moon. If you don't have another orange, if you just have one orange, just color lightly with a little pressure on as you color, and then go darker for the darker side. If you're using paint, make sure that you add lots of layers to make that next side, that second side, darker. Now that my buildings are colored in, I can think about whether the lights are on inside the buildings or the lights are off in the buildings. So I'm going to use yellow and black to indicate that the lights are off or on inside the building. Then I'm going to take my black colored pencil and trace around the edges of the buildings to create that contrast for the buildings. And here we have our project, boys and girls. We're using a little bit of our previous knowledge with value, and we're adding complementary colors. I hope you enjoy this. I can't wait to see your cityscape.